This episode may contain content that is not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised, especially for those under the age of 13. Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. The Weatherman. A fluorescent light flickered as the glow of the computer screen illuminated a face grown scruffy with 5 days' worth of beard. Beads of sweat appeared on his brow, but a smile played at the corners of his mouth. Leonard Miller was in his element. It came as no surprise that Leo felt comfortable where he sat. He'd lived in this house for 40 years, which corresponded with how much time had passed since his birth. His parents, Shirley and Stan Mitchell, didn't mind. "Son, you're welcome to stay here as long as you want to," his father told him many times. His mother added, "We wouldn't know what to do with ourselves without you." Their sentiments were noble, but truth be told, Leo and his parents rarely interacted. For decades, he'd spent nearly every waking hour in the basement of the 3-story home, with a few forays into the rest of the residence. Leo liked the arrangement, and he assumed his parents did too. They'd certainly never said otherwise. The animation on the screen before him caused his eyes to dart to and fro. His hands adeptly gripped a controller as he guided the images on the screen. This would be his crowning achievement. Simply put, he was a genius when it came to computer programming. No average gamer, Leo prided himself on his ability to create top-notch computer games of his own. Through the years, he'd made a decent living working remotely from his parents' basement. Major gaming companies competed for him to develop lifelike graphics for them. Sitting in the darkened basement, he looked down at his hands that hovered over the keyboard and smiled. "These hands may not swing hammers or operate on patience, but they are so useful. For all the times I was made fun of in school, I'm finally getting the last laugh." He flexed his hands into fists and then straightened his fingers again. "You're taking care of me very well." To remind himself of their value, Leo clicked on the app to his banking account. The commas and digits that appeared certainly made him happy. While his parents knew he fended for himself financially through his gaming revenue, they weren't aware of the extent of his earnings. Leonard, given ample time and the availability of the internet, had found many ways to generate income. "Mom and Pop think they're going to save me by leaving me this house when they're done. Now, I love this place, and it will always be home. But I'm worth 10 times, maybe more, than what they are. That's my little secret, though." Leonard Miller liked secrets. He always had. Maybe that began when he was a little boy, and he was made to feel like a social outcast. Society forced him into being an observer instead of a participant, so he quietly kept to himself and learned many secrets that others would never guess he knew about them. "Force me to be an observer, and that's exactly what I'll be. I paid attention, listened and watched, and kept detailed notes." He had his share of secrets as well. No one asked him what he thought about anything, so it wasn't difficult to keep his secrets safely tucked away. He vividly remembered the first time he realized he wasn't wanted in a group. It was the beginning of kindergarten. Mrs. Hanson told us to choose a partner, and we had to run to the other end of the playground to wait for her instructions. I was left standing alone. She didn't even notice that I was left behind, and I can still see her walking happily away from me toward the other children. She didn't notice I wasn't included until the bell rang for us to come in from recess. I cried. And then the other kids called me a baby for being sad. Mrs. Hanson told me I needed to act like a big boy and stop embarrassing myself in front of the class. Leo's face flushed with anger. That day in kindergarten burned a hole through his little heart. That day was the first secret he'd kept from his parents, and he never spoke of it to anyone. When his mother asked him how school was, he smiled and said, "It was good, Mama." When his father would ask him if he wanted to invite his friends over, Leo told him, "I asked, but they can't come over. Their parents said they had other things they had to do." He'd never admit to his parents that he had no friends. Sometimes he took himself to the park and lied, telling them that he was going to a friend's house. These lies spared him from the torment of admitting the ugly truth. He had no friends, not even one. It taught me lessons, though, and it allowed me plenty of time to work on projects like this. He watched the graphics on his screen and smiled. Programming was his passion. It wasn't the sort of activity that made him friends or attracted women, but it was lucrative, and in his own way, he felt powerful and in control. He also liked knowing that his video games gave awkward kids a way to pass their time and feel accomplished. Leo wished when he was a kid he'd had someone who worried about helping him. His anger flared for an instant. It was hard not to be angry when he thought of the thousands of hurts others inflicted on him. Cruel jokes were made at his expense. His town was known for being mean anyway. But growing up as an overweight geek with social anxiety, the meanness was overwhelming. The school did nothing to help him, and he would rather have died than let his parents know. It was another series of secrets he kept from them. The memories flooded back, and no one hurt him worse than Marla Munson. Pretty, popular, and a girl who'd captivated him since junior high, she was perhaps the cruelest of all of them. She knew he liked her, and for 2 months during their sophomore year of high school, she led him on. She flirted shamelessly and gleefully accepted when he asked her if she would go to the homecoming dance with him. He was nothing short of ecstatic. To his surprise, Marla told everyone at school about their upcoming big date. Other students would nod and smile at him, and he heard congratulating comments from nearly everyone. Some boys outright told him that they were jealous. This was better than he could have dreamed. Leo wanted the night to be perfect. He used every bit of money he'd saved to rent a tuxedo and buy flowers for Marla. He paid for 2 tickets, and that wiped out the rest of the money he had. Ahead of their date, Marla sweetly told him, "My parents have this event going on that I have to be at. I'll meet you at the dance. I'm so sorry. Is that okay? I feel terrible about this." "Of course it's okay, Marla. I'll meet you there." "We'll have a night to remember." She gave him a wink that made his knees buckle. His thoughts ran wild. On the night of the dance, Leo looked sharp. His mother took photos of him, and off he went. When he arrived at the venue, Marla wasn't waiting outside as they had agreed upon. Leo waited for 25 minutes, then decided to check inside in case she waited there. He pushed his way through the crowd, searching for any sign of Marla. And there she was. Clint Haverman, the quarterback, cozied up to her with his hand on her, well, lower than her back. She didn't seem to mind. Furthermore, Leo instantly saw that the green vest on Clint's suit perfectly matched Marla's emerald dress. On her wrist was a corsage. The music stopped playing, and Marla spotted Leo across the room. She nudged Clint and pointed at Leo. "Well, look at that, Marla. Loser Leo actually believed he'd take you to the dance," Clint shouted. The entire student body laughed and pointed, having taken part in the joke. Leo wanted to disappear into the floor, but instead, he stood staring at the girl he loved, kissing Clint Haverman in earnest. "She told you it would be a night to remember." Clint and everyone else, including Marla, laughed. Finally, in a daze, Leo walked out of the dance hall and threw the flowers he bought for Marla in the trash on his way out the door. Too embarrassed to go home early, he drove to a nearby park and cried. He couldn't stand to answer his mother's questions if he went home before it was time for the dance to end. So he sat morosely in his car, then slowly drove home. It was another secret he kept. For the rest of high school, he was tormented by others for falling for the elaborate hoax perpetrated by Marla and Clint. Already a social outcast, he withdrew even further into himself. He even contemplated suicide. The chiming of the clock brought Leo back to the present. He looked at the time. 6 o'clock. His parents would be watching the local news. His mother's favorite weatherman was on Channel 6. His name was Clint Haverman. Leo stretched and looked at his computer screen. He only had a few more adjustments to make. It wouldn't take long, and the satisfaction would be exquisite. He dove into the last of the programming he needed to make, finishing at 6:15, just in time for Clint Haverman's weather segment. Leo chuckled. I hate to tell you, Mom, but Clint Haverman isn't the real weatherman. Another of my little secrets is about to be unleashed. I hate humanity to my core. Just one little push of this button. The moment Leo's finger hit the button on his keyboard, a humming sound floated through the air. The wind began to roar outside, and lightning cracked in rapid volleys. On his screen, Leo Miller saw the culmination of his life's work come to fruition. Storms unexpectedly ravaged the heartland. Hurricanes swelled out of seemingly nowhere from the oceans and barreled toward unsuspecting cities. This is my revenge on all of you. I hope you die. I don't think I'll share my secret with Mom, but I'm the real weatherman. He laughed at the thought of what he'd put into motion, and his laughter mingled with the thunder that roared. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Into the Night Anthology podcast. Written by Caroline Giammanco, narrated by Nari. Theme music by Nico Rodriguez. You can find our links in the show notes. Into the Night is on your favorite podcatcher, so make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. I'll see you next time. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths lead you into the night. Hi, excursionists. I'm so glad you stayed. If you ever wonder what I'm working on when I'm not here, you can find my current and past projects at narinarrates.com. That's also where you can sign up to be a story in my library, where every story somehow finds its way back home.